Today is March 26th. Just an unusual day in your life. But it isn't. Because today is an important day in internet history. And today is not a good day in internet history. Article 13 has been passed today in the European Union's Parliament. And let me give a quote, but written, I'm gonna give the sources in the description. Quote, the European Union will make online platforms liable for copyright infringements perpetrated by their users, in a move that will likely force all but the smallest platforms to install filters to spot potential infringements in the content uploaded to their sites. The measure was cleared by the European Parliament on Tuesday, as it approved the first update to the EU's copyright rules since the turn of the century by Chair 348 votes to 274. This was the last vote on the Copyright Directive, which will now have to be implemented in the laws of each EU member state by 2021. Digital rights campaigners bitterly fought against this part of the law, which is widely known as Article 13, although it was renamed as Article 17, remember this, of the Copyright Directive not long before the final vote. End quote. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss this. So, first part, the European Union will make online platforms liable for copyright infringement perpetrated by their users, in a move that will likely force all but the smallest platforms to install filters to spot potential infringements in the content uploaded to their sites. This is the first part. And before I get to talking about this means that the smaller sites will probably be removed to not have infringements, probably, in my opinion. Now, this is my opinion, but I think the smaller sites that if you try to ever make a site and don't have one of these, and probably you don't if you're not a fucking millionaire, because I don't see a normal person that makes a site have that much money, well then, your site is basically screwed, probably. And all investments you make, they're probably worthless if you have a small site. Luckily, I think I have any fans that made small sites, but still, I'm just saying this part. Now the second part. The measure was cleared by the European Parliament on Tuesday, as it approved the first update to the EU's copyright rules since the turn of the century by 348 votes to 274. This was the last vote on the Copyright Directive, which will now have to be implemented in the laws of each EU member state by 2021. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to put a picture, of course, here of the votes, and another quote by Julia Reda. Dark day for internet freedom. The Parliament has rubber-stamped copyright reform, including Article 13 and Article 11. MEPs refused to even consider amendments. The results of the final vote: 348 in favor, 274 against. Save your internet. End quote. And another quote here by Julia Reda. Quote, voting on individual amendments like the proposal to delete Article 13 was rejected by a majority of just 5 votes. Save your internet as always. And honestly, this is in a way sad. Yeah. And to think so many people do not realize this, and they only have like this. And more. Another quote. Or no, for now, no. First, let me talk another part of the earlier thing. Digital rights company bitterly fought Oh yeah, that. And although it was renamed as Article 17, that's very interesting. I'm not really sure about that yet, even myself. I think you should. This is the part where you go search yourself. Because you need to search yourself to solve this. Okay. Hold up. Anyways, just ignore that. Okay, so. Something else. What can it be? Oh yeah, another quote. Quote, many players opposed Article 13 and just a small end quote. And my parenthesis, my comment, seriously, who wouldn't oppose this? Okay, back to the quote. Several Wikipedia sites went dark in protest last week. Thousands of people marched against the measure in Germany. Small end quote. In my parenthesis, yay. Back to the quote. More than 5 million signed a petition against it, and the United Nations Free Speech Rapporteur David Kay repeatedly warned that it would harm free expression. Small end quote here in my parenthesis. I don't think the EU sometimes cares about us when you're a Romanian. Holes in the street in Romania. Trust me, if you were a Romanian, you will understand what it feels like to be in the worst part of the EU. Trust me. Back to the quote. Okay, technical experts warned that filtering technology is not yet mature enough to accurately spot copyright infringement without also blocking some legitimate uploads. Okay, this is another small end quote. Obviously, I think this guy is right. Okay, next part. So, back to the quote. Despite the warnings and concerns of academics, privacy bodies, UN representatives, and hundreds of thousands of consumers across Europe, the European Parliament has given its go-ahead to a very unbalanced copyright law, said, end quotes, said Monique Guyens, the Director General of the European Consumer Organization. Back to the quote. Consumers will have to bear the consequences of this decision. Their concerns had been voiced loud and clearly, but MEPS chose to ignore them. End quote. This is again quite sad, man. Anyways, quote again. Julia Reda, the private party MEP who spearheaded the fight against Article 13, was told Fortune that the vote was a severe blow to freedom of expression and diversity of voices online, and the European Parliament had ignored expert advice. The fact that the motion to amend the deal and possibly delete the most controversial upload filter provision was rejected by only 5 votes shows that the agreement remains extremely divisive, she added. End quote, she added. Because, that would sound like it's part of the quote, but it's not, and it's my comment. And anyways, our tech firms such as Google also campaigned against this, as did Mozilla, the maker of the Firefox browsers. Quote, we fully expect copyright to return to the political stage. Until then, we will do our best to minimize the negative impact of this law on the Europeans' internet experience and the ability of European companies to compete in the digital marketplace, said Mozilla's head of EU policy, Regan MacDonald. End quote at Marketplace, but I think it said Mozilla's head of policy, Regan MacDonald. MacDonald sounds like a very interesting name. Trust me, it's an interesting name. Anyways. Google had also had reason to oppose another continuous part of the new law, Article 11, which introduces so-called ancillary copyright across the EU. This essentially means press publishers will be able to demand licensing fees when services such as Google News reproduce snippets of text from their articles. The idea has been tried in both Spain and Germany before and failed both times. In the case of Germany, where publishers such as Axel Springer's lobbied for the law, Google responded by no longer reproducing snippets of their article for of their article text in its search results. Rather than planning to do so, the publishers capitulated and allowed Google to reproduce their snippets without paying. In Spain, the ancillary copyright law forced publishers to demand payment, so Google shut down its news service there. Yep. Really bad. Hold up, I need to get some water or something. Or, let me just talk about this and finish this and then I'm gonna drink my water. Okay, so next part. The new EU-wide law is closer to the German model than the Spanish. However, Google has repeatedly floated the idea of shuttering Google News across Europe if it passed. Google said in a statement that the directive passed on Tuesday had been improved in its final stage, but will still lead to legal uncertainty and will hurt Europe's creative and digital economies. End quote. Another quote, the details matter and we look forward to working with policymakers, publishers, creators and rights holders as EU member states move to implement these new rules, said a spokesperson. The spokesperson. Also, I think you realized that after I said the spokesperson, I already ended the quote. Anyways. So, the music industry was one sector reacting positively to the news. First, before this, let me react to this info first. I once met a musician, in fact, online, and he said it's the big companies that are most excited about this, and small musicians aren't, it seems. Which is very interesting. Anyways, let's see the quote. This is a landmark day for Europe's creators and citizens, and a significant step towards a fairer internet, said Helen Smith, the head of the Independent Companies Association, IMPALA. I don't think... Man, it isn't even all musicians actually agreeing with this. I think you should add this, but anyways, I think it's clear probably that not everyone agrees on this in every sector, and it's in the music sector as well that there are actually a large portion of unique and small musicians that don't agree with it, and big companies agree with it because it makes them more money, and there's a lot more that I've heard about. But anyways, continuing on with the info in this site reading, because some people watching this video are too lazy to even research, so they listen to this. Anyways, another quote. This is a landmark... Oh no, I already said this. Another quote here. Platforms facilitate a unique relationship between artists and fans, and this will be given a boost as a result of this directive. It will be a ripple effect worldwide. End quote. Okay, let me just keep reading. There was so much interest in Tuesday's vote that the European Parliament's livestream kept collapsing. It was, ironically, only consistently viewable on YouTube. This is fun, actually, in a way. No, it's not fun, but make fun of hard stuff. Okay, on Monday, Germany's FAZ newspaper reported that Germany and France struck a deal under which the former would lend its support to the copyright directive if the latter supported a loophole in the EU gas directive allowing the German-backed Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline to go to Russia to go ahead. And in my opinion, the Article 13 shouldn't have passed, and it's going to do great damage for the internet, and while it's going to help big companies, it's not actually going to help small musicians that everyone is talking about. It's going to help some people, but it's definitely gonna cause more problems than help. And this is my conclusion. Article 13 is not shouldn't have passed, and in my opinion, someday the internet may regret this. So let's try in any way we can to at least try fighting it back. Sign the petition I will put in the description against Article 13. If it's still active, I'm gonna check now if the petition was disbanded. If it was, then you're not gonna find it in the description, but you're most likely going to find it. I'm going to put in the description as many ways as I can find where you can help against Article 13 possibly. As I said earlier, the fact that that countries at some point have to put it and apply by 2021, and we have some time in some countries. I'm hoping in Romania they will let us free at least until 2020. Hold up, I have notifications. Anyways, so yes, I'm hoping until 2020 at least I have the freedom to post and at least get this summer and be able to tell my parents that I have a YouTube channel, and yet when I reveal my final notes, grades, and they will be really proud, and I also tell them this. I want to have this epic moment for myself. Anyways, this video was made by the fact that I simply wanted to do something, help somehow, more than anyone else that doesn't have a channel or stuff. I think everyone should give it a try, make a video about it, and put the link in the description if you made it. I'm really curious about what you made, and I'm just going to say this. I think Article 13 shouldn't have passed, and I am against it. Also, I'm going to read the CNN news. Or nah, I don't want to put even more links in the description. I'm also tired myself and I have a lot of homework. So yeah, I've made this video for the purpose, and I'm going to say this. Inspirational speech. The fight has not been lost, we still have time. And in this time, we shall fight and we shall try as hard as we can to repel it. Also, let me say something to all of you Americans and Asians and other continents that don't want to get involved with something that's happening in Europe. Well, all your channels will get less viewers from Europe maybe. You may be affected like this, or you may be affected in other ways. Like, this may spread to your countries. You think this is the start? It has just begun in Europe. You think they're gonna end it in Europe if it's a success? If it stays in for a long time and it seems like nothing major is happening bad, then don't you think other countries are going to willingly try it outside of Europe? Just saying. If you're an American, you should, or an Asian or something, just do a favor and try to fight Article 13 together with us in Europe, and help us from Europe to repel the danger that might someday cover the whole world. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on an actually normal video of mine. That's going to be Hearts of Iron 4, so shut up. Okay, bye. Have a nice day, I guess, and yep, fight against Article 13. Bye.